Been a while, nerds. Fino here with a guide for Summer 3, the Summer Servant Festival. Like all summer events, this one's long as hell, so get ready for a lengthy run. The main mechanic of Summer 3 is the 7-day loop. Essentially, each free quest will progress time from day to night to the next day and so on. At the end of the cycle, you might get a prize and then reset to day 1, possibly unlocking more of the main quest depending on your progress. Before we get knee-deep in doujins, let's talk rewards. The primary benefits of doing Summer 3 are 2 separate grails and Zerk Jalter, who's the welfare servant. I'm working on a guide for her, so look forward to that. To progress to these rewards, you have to contend with the point ladder. You've got 3 of them. Last I checked, main quest progression is gated by your point total, so you might just go into whatever free quest, but there's a benefit to planning your route here. At the end of each cycle, you get a doujin ZE if you meet one of the requirements. These are tied to the point ladder, with relevant milestones being 75k, 150k, and 400k. Combining these numbers over 2 ladders will generally give you a new CE, though you'll want to double check the numbers yourself before committing. There's also one with no conditions and the Gunslinger Girl one that only needs 10k in all 3. You've got some pretty cute stuff on tap, though despite my best attempts, the timeline where Jalter draws Casting Couch Waiver has been pruned. Because you only get a CE at the end of a cycle, it's in your interest to jump ladders tactically and waste the least amount of time. With that in mind, I've picked out 3 free quests to give you a strong start. First, there's Waikiki Beach. It gives you furry dollars that you can spend for the Hokusai CE. That gives a bonus to technique points. This same quest also gives technique points. This lets you get an escalating bonus while you farm the remaining copies. Next is Shoal, where you can farm BB bucks to get Water Shine. Again, desynergized with that same node, letting you farm more as you go along. Finally, Kukani Loco is the node where guild bills align with imagination points. It's also worth noting that the doujin CEs give a modest bonus to all 3 point types, so run them as filler. Summer Servants also give a bonus, and you should incorporate them into your team whenever you can. Jalter Zerk, BB, and John Archer give the most, followed by Mesh, other new servants, and costume servants, then older servants as the final category. At the start, you should use point CEs whenever you can, and start phasing out drop CEs until you're done with the main quest. Just plow through the 3 FQs I listed earlier until you bought out the shop CEs. Then you get a lot more freedom to pick your nodes, just something that matches your point needs. This event also has a second part, but it's time gated so you can just farm until then. Once part 2 drops, things shake up a bit. Assuming you're current with the main quest, several new free quests unlock. These are optimal for points but as split currencies, so only use them until your ladders are close to 1 million each. More excitingly, you get a set of personal raids where the health bar is local to your game. These are multiple engagements with mechanics that escalate as you go along. If you botch a run, your progress is maintained so you can just throw yourself at a fight until it's done. Just remember that you have a 15-turn limit for each run, so don't screw around too much. None of them are that hard, so I'll spare you the details with one exception. Raid 1 gets an ability that starts her with full NP, which has built-in invuln pierce and defense ignoring properties. Either one-shot her bar, bring guts, or pack a disposable frontline. She also has some weird Gawain shit going on and has massive damage resistance during the day, so be sure to fight her at night. Those were the most important points, but I've got some miscellaneous notes you might find useful. Jalter's Ascension item is split up with 1 in each ladder and 1 in the shop. You get these early at 50k points per ladder, which gives you the option of max ascending her very fast. Depending on your account's power, it could be worth doing this early. At minimum, you'll be able to get mileage in the raids. Speaking of the point ladder, actual rewards go up to 1 million, culminating in a crystallized lore. You also get extra copies of the ladder's point CE at 100k and 800k respectively. The 100k mark is relevant for picking your farming route, so keep that in mind. Some quests are available only on certain days and times, and can also have point requirements. A lot of these are tied to unlockables like costumes and command codes. Costume-wise, Gil's quest shows up on day 2 daytime, Robin is day 3 daytime, and Dantes is day 5 nighttime. In terms of command codes, the notable prize is Armament of Victory, which gives an extra 100% star absorption on its card. One final thing I noticed is that a lot of second waves and higher tier nodes only have 2 enemies. This can make things quite difficult for Scotty loopers, especially Lancelot, so be ready to run less sexy, more awkward setups if the numbers don't work out. That should cover everything except the challenge quest, which I'll try to do a separate video on. Summer 3 is not an overly complicated event in my opinion. It's mostly a matter of knowing which nodes give the points you want at a given time. You can lose a lot of time through bad routing, and the event's long enough as it is, so I'd strongly recommend farming around your milestones and not just blitzing to 400k in a single ladder. And for God's sake, start early. Take it from me, you can't turbo this out in a single day. Chip away. Even doing 2 or 3 free quests per day will put you on a decent pace to power through the finale once it's time. But cramming it all in a few days is a great way to get overwhelmed and kill your motivation. If you want a second opinion, Lord Ashura has a written guide, and he's working on a step-by-step portion, so refer to that if you need some extra hand-holding. It also includes a convenient map of nodes and their drops, handy for a quick visual. Otherwise, you can always use the in-game preview. And that's all I've got. Thanks for watching. Like if you liked it, subscribe for more, and watch me on Twitch where I stream every weekend, Friday through Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. This week I'm trying to deep dig Dante's, so we'll see how that goes. Catch you there.